Welcome to Jurassic World.
Good morning, guests. Welcome to Jurassic World Minute, where we visit Jurassic World 1 minute at a time. The first show at our marine park begins in 5 minutes. I'm Brad.
I'm Dave.
And here we are to discuss minute 15 of Jurassic World. But before we get to that, David, wanted to quickly look at the Jurassic One helicopter. Sadly, I couldn't find the article on Pedia, so I just had to stitch some stuff here from various sites. But a Eurocopter EC130, which was used in Jurassic World. Apparently, visitors who brought the adrenaline package in Jurassic World would have been able to be a passenger of Jurassic One and be given a tour of Isla Nublar from the skies.
Believe that this was like you said, it was the Eurocopter. I do remember that. And speaking of helicopters, I looked up the helicopter from the original movie and discovered that it has a cruising speed of, I forgot what it was. But anyway, it would only take you 45 minutes to get to the island from the helicopter trip.
Yeah, so that sort of lends more to the VIPs and that coming by helicopter and not cattle class on boat.
Yeah, whereas the boat, I think, what was it, 6 hours you and I discussed?
So it's something 4 to 6 hours, so yeah. Yep. But yeah, I still find it weird that here it's been used here by Masrani, and he hasn't gone and got his own helicopter. But
I mean, he is like I said in the previous minutes, he is the CEO. So I mean, he gets to borrow whatever he wants.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like when the boss comes in, he gets to do whatever he wants with his toys.
Yeah. No. Exactly. Yep. But you won't see that there, but head over to Jurassic-Pedia anyway for a lot more articles. I'm sure we'll get a helicopter one up soon for Jurassic One.
Whoa, Zach, last time I saw you, you were like, that must have been what, 3-4 years ago?
7 years, but close.
David, ready to get into minute 15?
Yep.
As we entered minute 14 of Jurassic World, Claire climbed aboard the helicopter and was amazed to see that Simon Masrani was following it. As we open on minute 15, the helicopter wobbles as it lifts into the air. Inside, alarms are blaring, but Simon reassures him, I've got it. At the 8-second mark, we cut to an exterior shot of the helicopter flying over the jungle, and that Jurassic World theme begins to play. And we get a real, true love letter to Hawaii. At the 18-second mark, we cut back inside the helicopter, as Claire's bracing herself against the door, heaving. Masrani looks back and smiles. You look tense, Claire. Claire tells Masrani that maybe you should just focus on the controls. Masrani says the key to life is knowing that you're never actually in control. And as he says this, Claire points forward. Bird! And a flock of seabirds evade the helicopter. At the 35-second mark, back inside the helicopter, Simon caws like a bird and tells Claire that you should spend some time at the beach, get some sun. At the 42-second mark, Claire shakes off the comment and says that marketing thinks we could offset some of the costs. But Masrani interrupts and says enough about cost. John Hammond trusted me with his dying wish, and not once did he mention profits. Spared no expense, he always said. And as the minute ends, Claire says she appreciates it, but there's a lot bigger reality in running a theme park.
As Jurassic One takes flight, it sort of shakes and rolls a bit. Inside, Simon's repeating, I got it, trying to reassure him, and more so the instructor, I'd imagine, that he does have control of the aircraft, even though he's taken... having a little issue here getting it into the sky in one piece. But next to him, the instructor seems to be doing a little flying of his own there. You can see him moving the stick around, and I remember when the film came out, I think it was Real News Hawaii actually posted up the fact that the instructor is in the pilot's chair and not Masrani, so it was just a little movie magic there to make you think that Masrani's the one flying when he really isn't. And in the back seat you can see Claire is holding on for dear life. Which I wonder how many times she does take to the air. Although with what we see later, even the instructor's not really used to this style of flying either. As they take off here, they sort of head straight over the front of the helipad, supposedly down over the bungalows that we've discussed before, and T-Rex Kingdom. Yet as sort of Simon struggles with the controls inside here, you can only really see jungle out the windows, so whether it sort of goes down forward and starts to turn a bit as he's working the controls here, I'm not sure, but a little bit of a error there, I'm guessing, with what's being seen out the windows.
Well, I do know that for the helicopter ride to the Indominus paddock to work, it would have to have gone north over that big giant ridge in the back of the Innovation Center. So that's probably where they went.
Yeah, well, I think next minute we'll discuss their flight path, because they go a fair bit south as well with those Jurassic Falls. But this is where we get the sort of the love letter to Hawaii as they're flying, and that and just a great Jurassic World theme here, which is perfect. We get later they cut to the bit of the Jurassic Park tune, which I don't think they need at all. But we're experiencing this new Jurassic World here, not Jurassic Park. But the chopper banks and drops down into a valley and passes over a bit of a jungle river here, and again beautiful. Some of the best aerial stuff we've seen of Hawaii and Isla Nublar in the franchise so far, and I'm pretty sure in the franchise total. I'd have to look at some shots in Fallen Kingdom and see where we get there, but
I loved the cinematography of Fallen Kingdom. I thought it made Jurassic World look Isla Nublar look absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I need to rewatch it again. It's been a while. It's probably been a year. But back inside there, the helicopter, Claire's holding her breath, and someone looks back and says, "You look tense, Claire." And she manages to get her hand up and gestures forward. Maybe you should try and focus on the controls. And that's when we get this great line from Masrani. The key to a happy life is to accept you're never actually in control, which is great for this film and the franchise in general. Just the thought of control, going all the way back to Malcolm in Jurassic Park as well.
And it sounds like, I was going to say, yeah, it sounds like such a Malcolm line, doesn't it?
Yep. And just as he's saying it, Claire screams bird. Pointing forward again.
Sorry.
That's when the instructor puts his hand up on the glass, sort of, ugh, as they swerve to miss the bird. And it's sort of, without looking further ahead, it may be that classic bird appearance that we get here. Because as we cut outside the chopper, flying over this ridge, you can see the flock of birds sort of evading the helicopter. And it sounds like seagulls cawing. It might be some other ocean bird as well, but that flock of white birds flying that we seem to get in every film so far.
Yep. That's where they are in this one.
Yep. I was on the ball then. Back inside the helicopter, Masrani makes a bird call, which is making that bird call, and continues talking to Claire. You should spend a day at the beach, get some sun. I don't know if that's a Ginger joke or if he's just saying you should get out and get a bit more air and get some sun. I didn't want to touch it too much, but Yeah, I'm not going to touch it anymore, actually. That's when she starts going through her notes. So marketing thought we could offset some of the costs, and that's where Masrani interrupts her again. Enough about cost. Not once did he mention profits. Spared no expense, he used to say, which is something we knew John to say quite a lot in his Jurassic Park years, but maybe not his Lost World years.
That was a line that I think a lot of fans had problem with when the this movie first came out, just because the last time we saw Hammond, he clearly did not. He clearly did not want a park. He wanted a preserve. He wanted no interference. Nobody touches and sees the dinosaurs anymore. They get to live on their own island by themselves forever.
Mm.
And then we get Jurassic World, and the next time we hear about Hammond is, well, he wanted the park, which just does not seem like what Hammond wanted the last time we saw him, you know?
Yeah. And this is sort of another one of those little things where I can see this film being a direct sequel to Jurassic Park and not, as Colin said, not sort of looking at the other two stories that happened in between. Because that, even Hammond's whole going eco-friendly, and that wasn't just a spare of the moment. He'd been doing that. Even the whole trip to sauna had been being planned for months, maybe even a year before the film came out. Or before the film was set anyway. And even InGen was working on Jurassic Park San Diego well before they went to harvest the dinosaurs, so they'd already been working on construction there to get the facility back up and running. I remember sometime back then, I don't know if it was official or not, some people were discussing, well, maybe Hammond got a bit senile or something like that in his sickness and was saying things that he probably didn't mean. I think it comes down to the whole thing with Masrani knowing Hammond, or knowing his father. There's something, maybe Hammond knew Masrani's father. There was something there that was on the website as well, I think. And just Masrani buying out InGen after the San Diego incident. Because it does make a lot of sense in the franchise for Hammond's dying wish to entrust this new company that's going to buy. Because the InGen only sold after Hammond died, so I don't know. At that point, he was no longer the head of the InGen. InGen obviously didn't go to Chapter 11 after the San Diego incident because they're still around now, even if they were purchased by Masrani.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a mess.
Masrani, well, also Masrani is a much more solid company than InGen was. InGen was basically a startup, and they're basically banking on Jurassic Park being their big moneymaker.
Mm.
I mean, we know that Hammond had the preserve in Africa that he kind of basically stole Muldoon away from. But I never kind of got that. I always kind of felt like that was more of just one of Hammond's little things. It wasn't exactly kind of his big venture. I always felt like Jurassic Park was InGen's big venture. And so I think that Masrani is much more likely to survive the lawsuits than InGen would have, just because they've got like 24 more different other things going on other than just Jurassic World.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a lot bigger. Yeah, a lot more stuff going on. As Hoskins says later, he's got his fingers in so much tech and so many companies. But Claire appreciates what Masrani's saying, and but the reality of operating a theme park requires, and she's cut off by him again, and that's where the minute ends. Is there anything else we need to add on the whole Hammond thing?
No, I think we're good.
Yeah. It's a bit of a mess with how that whole thing. You didn't need to bring Hammond in to give Masrani the go-ahead to make a new park. Masrani could have brought out InGen, seen what they had done in the past, and gone, well, let's look into this and maybe do it ourselves on a bigger budget, bigger sort of thing, and go with it. They had all the assets, they had the islands. It's just, yeah, it seems just to be a sort of tie-in and the mention of Hammond again, which we have to have in every film. Yeah.
Well, that's another thing. I think that they wanted to kind of include Hammond in a way in the movie, and that was the best way they could find to do it. You know, just kind of mention him. Because, I mean, we know that in The Lost World, he's not entirely condemning the park, but he doesn't. It's just not something he wants to do anymore. He's moved past that want, and I don't think that making him having a change of heart retroactively is something that people needed to see.
No. Especially when you're going to have, you got the Hammond Creation Lab, you got the bronze statues, like the father of the dinosaurs is still here in the film, without mentioning his name. Yep. But going over briefly to the novel, as the helicopter soars over the valley, Claire opens a notebook which shows the new dinosaur